Now, as for the university itself, I would like to ask Andrea Sitersky. She is going to give us a little update on where we are with the medical school. So, I guess it's appropriate for me to start with an admissions update. This is kind of deja vu for me. We opened applications for the School of Osteopathic Medicine in June. Actually, June 2nd was opened on our centralized application portal, and applications start pushing to us in the middle of June. As of this date, we have over 4,000 students that have started some part of the application. So we're proud at the volume, and that has kind of whittled down to about 2,200 completed applications that we're beginning to work with. Our goal, and we have rolling admissions, and so we're continuing to review applications from now until April, or until we fill the class of 150. And our intention is to, out of that class of what we anticipate will be 3,000 verified applications, to interview anywhere between 700 and 750 students. And so it's been busy. We're heading into our third weekend of interviews. We're interviewing about 108 students over a 2-day period. We're following a format called multiple mini interviews. I call it kind of speed dating for medical school. But it's been a really, really interesting process, and so this is a shameless plug. We need volunteers, so. Just as Dr. Doyle mentioned, a lot of construction going on. Phase 1 of the Brook City-based development is about 16 acres and involves 4 different buildings. In July, we moved into our main administrative building, and so I'll talk about that in a moment. But just to give you a general timeline, as you all know, we received our Provisional Accreditation last December, which really allowed us to start recruiting and to start accepting applications. Our first class, again, will enroll in late July, August of next year. Our clinical rotations will start in July of 2019, and our first graduation in May of 2021. And so as far as the accreditation process is concerned, and this is a point that we're making with all of the candidates who certainly ask about accreditation, a medical school cannot get final accreditation until their first class is ready to graduate. So we feel that we're on schedule. We're, as Dr. Madsen mentioned, dotting those I's and crossing the T's. And certainly it's really valuable to have someone who's gone through the process of accreditation of a new school to help guide us. As I mentioned, we moved into our first building, which is building 150, which is mainly administrative offices. When students are coming on campus and asking for a tour, I say, well, here's one office, and here's another office, and here's another office. Basically, we have faculty administrative offices. And so those are just a list of some of the departments that are located there. Building 100, which is all educational space that will house our anatomy labs, our cadaver labs. We'll launch a willed body program. Just very interactive, very state-of-the-art. We hope that completion of that particular building will be in early spring. And along with an early spring completion for that building will be our second building, 155, which will be the library and support services, help desk, classroom, studio space. And so those two facilities are scheduled to be completed, we hope, in early spring. And then the final building of phase 1, which is 180, which will be additional learning studios. We'll seat 170 students, very interactive in its setup. Our simulation labs, instructional labs, OMM, which is osteopathic manual manipulation labs, will be housed there, and along with a dining room and student affairs. So that will truly be the student building. And so we hope that the completion of that building will be at the end of the spring. So again, on target to start classes beginning of August. It's been exciting. Please, if you haven't had an opportunity to visit a new part of San Antonio that UIW is located in, come out to visit us. The community has been great, very, very supportive, and so we're moving on. Again, I'm blessed to work with some great faculty from all over the country. A few of those faces on that slide I'm sure look very familiar. Dr. Lord, Dr. Ibata, Dr. Parker. And it's been a nice transition because I think we're able to offer that historical perspective of UIW. But I think what we find so impressive is that all the faculty who come to us with different types of backgrounds, educational backgrounds and clinical backgrounds, medical backgrounds, they're coming to us for the mission, and not just the UIW mission, not just the School of Medicine mission, but the UIW mission. And they love to tell the stories of our founding congregation of the Sisters of Charity and the Incarnate Word. And what's nice about their enthusiasm is that the candidates find it infectious. And so, again, we got a great team here, and I think that's about it.
Thank you, Andrea. I do encourage those of you who may not have seen the school, I imagine most of you haven't, but it's actually not that far away. I've been out there a number of times, but I was really surprised when I went out recently to see how much has changed since we've begun the process of building out the school. And we will have like a grand opening of that school, and we will hopefully have buses and transportation that will allow various members of the community to come out and see the medical school. So then I wanted to say a few words about budget and enrollment, and maybe I'll begin by just reminding all of us, as I'm sure you know, is that our budget is tied to our enrollment. And so we really are very dependent on making our enrollment in order to make our budget. And as you know, with the medical school and also with the Student Engagement Center and other major commitments of the university, our budget is very tight right now. So we did not make our enrollment this year, either at the graduate or the undergraduate level. So that is a real concern for us and something that we need to look at, especially in terms of where we're going and what our commitments are that we have. So we were down 150 students for the fall enrollment for the fall semester, and that will in turn probably predict about 160 students down for the spring semester. So that's a concern to us. And also we are down in our graduate enrollment, but our online enrollment has increased. So this has caused us to have to reduce the budget by $2.3 million. And so some of that can be accomplished because there are fewer students. That also means that we give away fewer dollars of financial aid, so we recoup some of that. We have other pockets of money that are able to help us to balance the budget. But I think it is important for us as a community to realize that we are in a situation where we have to be very careful about our expenditures. And we have to be very mindful about the importance of enrollment and retention of our students. So this is something that we have lots of people working on, but I think it is something that we need to share with you in terms of the state of the university. So one of the things that we want to be careful about in terms of next year is to build the budget next year on the actual number of students we have this year. And this is the way that we have traditionally budgeted at the university, was that you start from where you are, not starting from where you hope to be. Because we have experienced a long period of growth at the university, it has been tempting along the way to say, well, let's budget on more students than we have. Let's presume that we're going to get more students. So we're very concerned and therefore have to remain very focused on how we budget for next year and how we work towards enrollment. Now, the good news, according to just what you've heard from Andrea, is that we have been starting the medical school. which is very expensive. The personnel in a medical school are very expensive. The budget to renovate those buildings is very expensive, but we haven't had any income. All we've had is output. So next year is the first year in which we will have students paying tuition to the medical school, and so that in some ways will relieve what has been a big commitment of our budget has been to beginning that school, which is of course the way we've done all of our schools. Our pharmacy school, we had to begin by hiring faculty before we had students, the same with optometry, physical therapy. So it's very similar, only a medical school is a very large reality, one that we know will be something that we're very proud of, but the creating it is expensive and it is a big commitment of our resources. And that's why it's so important for us, and I'm so glad that Andrea has said this, it's so important that all of our professional schools reflect the mission of our institution and remain very tied to the center of the university and to our mission. So that's important for us in terms of who's working there. So the good news is that some things will change next year, the opening of the medical school. The impact of the 5% program, which was a program put in place in terms of enrollment, it was late in the enrollment period when it was put in place last summer. We hope that we'll have a more beneficial effect in the coming year. Our international programs are growing, and we have new academic programs that also have potential for growth. So we see not a bleak future, but really the opportunity for us to continue and to really turn some of these factors around that are difficult for us right now. One of the things I want to focus on, and I know that HR does a very good job of focusing on, is our community, and what our really strongest resource is our people. It's really amazing, I think, for all of us to realize that we have over 1,000 employees of the UIW. This makes us a very large academic environment. We have full-time faculty, full-time administrators and staff, and it has been growing. So this has a tremendous impact on the city of San Antonio. The biggest thing about our community, or the biggest thing about our budget, you could say, is that $96 million of our budget goes into our salaries. And that has a big impact on San Antonio. We are a large employer. We're certainly not the largest employer, but we have grown a great deal. And I think it's important for all of us, I guess, to realize as we grow how important it is that we remain strong in the core of who we are. You know, that we have had, as the years have gone by, so many programs, I think. Sister Walter does a great job of it. HR helps with that. All sorts of people, faculty, mentors, etc., is that we really believe that our strongest asset is our people, and that part of that is helping to nurture and nourish in all of our employees a sense of belonging and a sense of commitment. And you know, what that really translates in some ways for me is that when we talk about enrollment being so important to us, well, we are the people who have a real impact on that enrollment. We are the people who make life on our campus possible for our students, make our students feel that they're part of something important, make our students feel that they are worthwhile. Those are things that are really key to retention and persistence to graduation. So I think it's sort of a real circle to me. Thinking about how strong we are as a community really translates into our students, and those two things can never be separated. So when we're just recently named one of the top 10 workplaces in San Antonio, I think those kind of awards have some importance, but I think the real reality is what we experience here. You know, it's not that we're seen that way in the Express News, but okay, we'll take it. Anything in the Express News that makes us look good, we'll take. But, you know, it's not just that. It is really that we can come together in a situation like this and feel good about where we work, and not just because of tacos. So I want to also point out something that I took a lot of pride in this fall was the peer review that we had from NCAA. And this is the process we are on towards becoming a D1 accredited school. And Kevin Vishkalis was one of a team of largely academics who have to show NCAA not just what we do on our playing fields, but how our athletes are integrated into the learning environment of the university. So it is very uplifting to me because I don't know a lot about NCAA, but it is really inspiring to me how concerned this group is that our athletes are succeeding academically. And that's why we had to pull together a whole group under Kevin's leadership of academics to show how we are working with our student athletes so that they can be just as successful in this educational piece of their life as they will be in whatever sport they're playing. So they have done a great job, and the people who came here, the educators who came here, the president of a university in Michigan, different people like that came here, and they were so impressed with Incarnate Word. And so that really impressed me. How much they liked us was great. You know, they really liked what they saw here. And it wasn't just about building new buildings or new facilities. They really want to see our commitment to the academic endeavor. And they did see it, and they were very pleased with us. And we anticipate the successful completion of this process and to advance to full Division I status. So I'm very grateful to Kevin, and he has a whole team, and many of you may be here, but I don't want to say who you are in case I forget some of you. But that was a lot of work, and we are really grateful for that work. I have also had in the last few weeks the opportunity, well, I've had over the last few years the opportunity to both visit our campus in Mexico City, and in the spring I was able to go to Irapuato, to our campus Bajío there, and it's very impressive. I'm sorry that more of you don't get the opportunity to travel to these schools. Both of them have excellent rectors. Matthew Whitehouse has been at our Centro Universitario Incarnate Word in Mexico City. He's been the rector there, I think, as many years as Marcos has been here, so it's probably 7 or 8 years. And Jose Antonio Lopez is the rector in Irapuato, and he is doing a wonderful job there, both in this moment of beginning that school, but also in his capacity to envision where that school will go over the next years. The enrollment in both schools is good. It's interesting for me that Campus Bajío in Irapuato has a lot of room for growth. There's a lot of land there that is part of the university. There is interest on the part of Christus Health in building some facility there close to the university, which is also helps in the development of the university. So there's some very good things happening. And I think, you know, just looking at these 4 things that I've mentioned, the medical school, the athletics, the international schools, this is part of what I call the complexity of the university. When a new president comes on, there's many, many moving parts to our university. Each one is vibrant, but the importance is that we hold it all together in one university. The work on the Student Engagement Center, it remains on schedule. So I think anybody working in the building that I'm working in will be eternally grateful when that thing is done. But right now, it is dying down, the large amount of noise, because I think they're really in the process of building out. You know, the building is in place, and now they're doing all the internal work. It's a large building, and Dr. Jurenovich has told me that we're on schedule to have at least a soft opening of that building before the end of the spring semester. And, you know, it's not just that that building has been long waited for, and it has been. But it is also so many people who are doubled up in little nooks and crannies around the campus will have their own space and relieve the congestion of people on the campus. So it will really be an opportunity for us to settle a little bit. But it should be a wonderful facility, and we're all looking forward to it, and it is on schedule. It certainly overshadows the little building that we work in over there. So I mentioned that we were named one of the top workplaces for 2016. That's good for us. Some of the things that are coming up that are very important, Light the Way, is Saturday, November the 19th, and that starts around 7:30 on campus. Our Cardinal Holiday Feast is our dinner for the students. We've had a long history of serving our students Christmas dinner, and that will be on November the 30th, and I think it's always been a festive occasion, and one that allows the students to see some of the people they interact with doing something for them, serving them. It's a nice event. Our Christmas party for our community will be on Friday, December the 2nd in the afternoon. I think it's like at 3 o'clock. You'll get more information about that. And our commencement is on Saturday, December the 10th. So, you know, it's just about this time of the year of the semester where you feel that we're just reaching the peak, and then it's going to be straight downhill into Christmas. So before you know it, it'll be Thanksgiving, and then it'll be graduation, and we'll all be done. So I hope that you will enjoy the remainder of the semester, and you will see a lot of success in the work that each one of you does. Again, we're very grateful for all the people who are here in this room who support us, the sisters, the members of the village community, that really we are part of one big campus here that includes a lot of people whose hands reach back to the Sisters of Charity of the Incarnate Word. So we're truly grateful to be here and to have you here with us.